Hello and welcome back to another question of the exercise, and a new exercise indeed. In this exercise, we will be working with directed numbers. We will first a little bit understand what are directed numbers. Directed numbers are numbers that have a direction. The direction is shown either by a positive sign or a negative sign. In here, if we talk about the positive number, so it means it's moving in the positive direction, usually to the right on a number line. Let's say we are having a number line, so in here this is 0. As we move towards the right hand side, it's getting positive numbers. When we go below 0 on the left hand side, we get all the negative numbers. So in here, when we say a positive number, means moving in the positive direction, so to the right on a number line or above 0. And a negative number means moving in the opposite direction, that is usually to the left on a number line or below 0, -1, -2, and so on. As we go in this direction, these are the numbers that are below 0. So we will be working with different questions with directed numbers. In order to understand them further, let's just take a start with our first question. In here, the question asks us to express each of these situations using a directed numbers. So the very first part in here mentions a profit of $100. Since it is a profit, so a profit means we have gained money. Gains represent the positive directed number, therefore we will write a plus sign with the $100. The second part is 25 kilometers below sea level. So the word below sea level indicates a negative direction because they are below the reference point, which is sea level. Therefore the directed number is minus 25 kilometers. The third part is a drop of 10 marks. So a drop of 10 marks means decrease. Decrease are represented by negative numbers. Therefore it would be, the directed number in here would be minus 10 marks. The fourth part is a gain of 2 kg. A gain means an increase, so we use a positive directed number, therefore the directed number is plus 2 kg. This is the fifth part, I believe. A loss of 1.5 kg. So a loss means the amount has decreased, so we represent it with a negative number, therefore the directed number would be minus 1.5 kg. 8,000 meter above sea level, in here is the next part, 8,000 meter above sea level. So the word above sea level indicates a positive direction because the height is above the reference point, therefore the directed number is plus 8,000 meter. Next part is a temperature of 10 degree below 0. So a temperature below 0 is always represented by a negative number, therefore the directed number is minus 10 degree. Next part is part H, a fall of 24 meter. So a fall of 24, a fall means moving downward or decreasing. So we use a negative directed number, therefore the directed number is minus 24 meters. Next is a debt of $2,000. So a debt means money that is owed. So it is represented by a negative number, therefore the directed number would be minus $2,000. Next part is an increase of $250. So an increase again in here, okay, J part, an increase means the amount has gone up, so we use the positive directed number, therefore the directed number is $250 plus $250. Next is a time 2 hours behind GMT. So a time 2 hours behind GMT. So the word behind means we move backward from the GMT. So we represent it with a negative number. The reference point is negative, GMT in here. So since we are moving backward, behind, rather than forward, therefore we represent it with a negative number. Therefore it would be minus 2r. The second last part is a height of 400 meter. So a height is measured above the reference point unless stated otherwise. So it is considered positive. Therefore the directed number would be plus 400. And the last one is a bank balance of $450. So a positive bank balance means there is money available in the account. So we use a positive directed number. Therefore the directed number would be plus $450. So we can answer questions that are having directed numbers by looking for the clue words. For example, profit, gain, increase, above, height, balance, they usually indicate positive numbers. On the other hand, words like loss, debt, drop, fall, below, behind, below zero, these indicate a negative number. So once we identify the clue words, choosing the directed number becomes the correct directed number is getting easier to us then. That's all for this question. I hope it's getting clear. Happy learning.